Hey, this is Dani, you and me living free, and I'm going to talk about the side hustle today, and I'm going to talk about starting that. I've decided to stay with my full-time job for at least the next year or two, hopefully, and because I do like it, I like the people, I like the work that I do very, very much, and it is the stability and the foundation, right? But I'm starting a side hustle, and I am a trained life coach, so it's going to be something around coaching, and I'm approaching it as the marketing professional that I am. That's what I do by profession. That's what my work is, that I love so much. So for the first time, I'm really approaching this life coaching thing as a marketing person and with my whole brain and everything. And how would I approach it? And the marketing, the intuitive, the life coach part of me says, I don't need to know what anybody else is doing, because what I have to bring to the table is uniquely me. And so I just need to follow my intuition and find those things that I need to do, which is fine. That's one approach. But what I'm doing now is I'm trying to use intuition and also my marketing skills and use that foundation in marketing that I have. So I was like, okay, if this were a new job and Dani, the life coach, was hiring me, what is the first thing I would do? Well, the first thing I would do would be research. So I went through some of my social media feeds, and I signed up for a couple of freebies, and I signed up for a couple of groups because I want to. There's a couple of reasons I think I'm going to start with a group instead of individual coaching. When I did my life coaching business the first time, I was going to start with a group, but when the group didn't take off like I thought it should, I kind of abandoned the idea, and I was just getting single clients for single sessions or series of sessions, and it paid a lot better anyway. So I abandoned the group idea when it didn't take off. But I'm coming back to that now, and I love the idea of a group for several reasons. Number one, I am going to keep my day job for at least a year or more, and so a group I can do on my time. I don't have to do things during business hours. I can do it, before work, after work, on the weekends, things like that, so that it makes it a little easier. When I was coaching mostly female entrepreneurs the first time around, all my coaching appointments were through the day. I didn't do any on the nights or weekends. Anyway, so that's one good thing. It works for me to do group coaching and do a group with coaching as part of it. Another thing is that a lot of times in life, wherever we are, we have people around us, a lot of times primarily from our family, our upbringing, our community where we are. And when we are going through things that cause us to want to grow and be at sort of a different place in life, we find that we need to make some new friends. We need to spend time with people who contribute to us in a different way. Does that make sense? I remember when I first went into therapy and cleared up a lot of my codependency issues, and I found that I had friends, and I had one friend, and all we would do would be to get together and complain about our husbands, okay? And as soon as I got into therapy and stopped complaining about my husband and then got a divorce, we had nothing to talk about, because our whole relationship was based on our own kind of dysfunction, and how we both were dysfunctional in the same way, and we kind of reinforced each other's dysfunction. Now, there's nothing wrong with her and there's nothing wrong with me. It's just where we were at that point in our lives. But I wanted more than that. I wanted to move beyond that. I didn't want to spend my time doing that. So I had to do the work. And at the time, that was therapy. Because like a life coach, like someone who needs a life coach is already kind of has their shit together, and kind of like, it's like, do you need a doctor or do you need a personal trainer? Do you know what I mean? For your health. A doctor is like a therapist. Like you got some more deep-seated issues. You've got to you've got a disease or like a thought pattern or something, you know, that needs some deep work, probably started in your childhood, all of that. A lot of those are therapeutic issues. Then when you get to a point where you're not so codependent, you're really taking I think a big line of do you need therapy or do you need a life coach, or maybe both, is are you taking 100% responsibility for your life? Because before therapy, I had a lot of people to blame for the way that I was and the way that life was and why it wasn't fair and all of that. And like a lot of people, it was, you know, probably my parents. It was definitely my ex. It was definitely, you know, kind of their fault, all my problems. And then you go to therapy and then you realize, at least I did, over time, and it probably took me two to 3 years to get to the point where I wanted to go ahead and accept responsibility myself. And I wanted to see my part in things and how I might have been conditioned in a certain way, but now I had choice and I could do something about it, and I could be more deliberate and more responsive instead of reactive, right? And so therapy brought me to that point, but therapy wasn't going to take me into the next steps. That's where I needed coaching, and I needed I would train to be a life coach, basically to take myself from the steps of, okay, therapy has made me kind of more of a whole responsible adult person who's not completely codependent and not blaming others. Therapy kind of got me to that point. But then when I wanted more than that, and I wanted more love and acceptance for myself, I wanted better things in my life, I wanted better quality of thoughts running through my head, I wanted hopes and dreams and goals and all of that, then therapy kind of was like, wasn't the best place for me to get all that, to go to the next level. Why did I go into all that? I don't know why I went into all that, but I said on the last video, someone needed to hear it. Maybe it was you. Let me know in the comments. Someone needed to hear it. Because YouTube is my place where I just talk through everything. Like if I'm going to be talking about this in a way where I feel like I'm intentionally teaching other people, then I will, you know, write it down, organize it, practice it. This is my organization session. This is my practice. And then when it's polished and when it is looking and feeling a certain way, and I feel like maybe I can teach it or maybe I can promote it or propose it, it will just look a little bit different way. But YouTube is my place where I don't have to worry about polish. I'm not going to purposely take a shower and do my hair, obviously. I'm not going to present. On YouTube, I process, and I have behind the scenes, and I have do the journey with me. And then for maybe some other platforms, I don't know what I'm going to use yet, then I will have maybe a little bit of a different approach and a different look and feel, right? But this is YouTube. This is also van life. This is where I process and where I work things out. So you're here behind the scenes, first thing, before anything happens on the outside or that anyone else can see. Okay, so all that to say, I'm thinking about this side hustle. I am thinking about doing a group, probably on Facebook to start, because it's just so easy. And a lot of people are on there already. I don't go on Facebook very often. I just got a notification and realized my birthday was a while ago, coming up on 2 weeks ago. And I have a bunch of birthday wishes on my Facebook page, and I never even answered anybody or told them thank you or anything, because I hardly ever go on Facebook at all. And I need to go in and do that. But that just shows you how disconnected I am from Facebook. But I still think I'm going to put the group on Facebook. Anyway, doing a lot of research, finding a lot of other people and following some of their coaching stuff, getting some of their freebies, to see what they're like and what people have out there. And it's so true. One of the things that keeps coming around is sometimes it helps you to determine what you want based on experiencing something you don't want. It helps to clarify. Contrast clarifies. So when you have an experience maybe with a coach online or something like that, and they're promoting something, or they're just presenting themselves in a certain way, it's like, no, not that. Like, I have that reaction a lot more than I have the yes please. I have more of a like, ooh, I definitely don't want to do that. Most of it, though, I feel like is driven by people that we relate to. For every coach that I'm saying, ooh, please, not that, someone else is saying, yes, please, that's what I want. That's the experience that I want. And that's the glory of it, honestly, that you can find someone for you. You can find your people. I can find my people, and they're not going to be the same as someone else's. And it doesn't matter if theoretically some of the themes that we talk about or some of the coaching that we do might be similar. It's never going to be the same thing because it's so individualized. And we have to seek out the people that speak to us. We have to seek out that feeling, like, when you see someone or you hear someone and you're like, yes, that's my people. That's what I need to hear. That's what I need to do. I'm so sorry. I forgot to put my phone on airplane, and I keep getting these little mini notifications. Anyway, maybe I'll cut that out. But you know it when you see it. And I love that. And it's a good reminder for me. So we're doing the research. We're looking at what's out there. We're seeing what we don't like a lot more than what we do. But we're also seeing things we do like. And I joined the Infinite Possibilities group. I haven't gotten into the Facebook group yet, and into the whole site and everything yet. I have access to courses, and I have access to all this stuff for like $15 a month, and it is really, really seems like a great deal. So I'm looking forward to getting into that. I forget his name. He's the bald guy, Mike Dooley. He does the Notes from the Universe daily emails. Anyway, I got into his group. I signed up anyway. I haven't gone in yet, but him I'm excited about. But so many of the others, just not for me, but we learn from what we don't like and think, okay, I don't want to do that again, or I don't want anybody like that, or I don't want to be like that, or whatever. And it just helps us. Also, with the whole group thing, what I was trying, I think, to get at before when I talked about the friend and the dysfunction that we shared, is that by getting into a group of people who are all working on themselves, who are all kind of want to have more joy, more happiness, dreams fulfilled, want to work on and make progress on making their dreams come true, on bringing those ideas and dreams into fruition, bringing them into actual reality, and taking those steps and working on discipline, creating discipline. Discipline is like a muscle, and when you don't use it, it atrophies and deteriorates. And then when you use it, it can get sore, it can hurt, but then it grows, and then it gets easier, and then you build, and then it gets easier. And it's never easy because it's called discipline, and it will always be hard, but it's never harder than in the beginning. It's never harder than in the beginning, and when you're establishing routines and things like that. But when you are one of those people who's working on that, and I know, probably you do too, you have people in your life who are not doing any of that work, who want to kind of stay in the same situations and have the same complaints, and that'll be what they do till the end, probably. And then you have people who, wow, she really wanted that, she went after it and accomplished it, and I want to be more like that. I don't want to come off as like, this is better than this. I think there are different times in our lives and everybody's at a different place in their lives. And I spent years and years and years enjoying getting some kind of self-righteous reward by complaining about all the faults that I felt like my husband at the time had. There was something in it for me, in being a victim, in not being at cause. And I had to work through all of that time and get miserable enough to start therapy, to start this road. And so I feel like people are just wherever they are on the path. One place isn't better than another. It's just different. And when you're at certain phases, what you need is different. And when I was miserable, I got so good at dealing with being in misery that it took me a very long time to decide to take the step to get therapy, to get some help. And actually the best things that happened to me then were things that like made me miserable. I know there was an incident with my ex-husband and he did something in front of the children, and like all of a sudden this thing happened in my brain and I was like, it's not okay. I knew I could handle the pain of what was happening, but finally sometime it switched and I was like, okay, my kids do not deserve to grow up thinking this is how a marriage works. This is what a man is supposed to be. This is what a woman is supposed to be. This is what marriage is supposed to be, because whether we say that to our kids or not, we're the models. And something happened that was bad enough where it finally clicked in my head that it was for my son too, but really it was my daughter. And I just thought, I don't want her in this pattern 25 years from now, in the same dysfunction, working on the same issues. And so it got bad enough to get to therapy and to work through that. And so I'm not knocking anybody on their journey if they're fighting it out in the middle of dysfunction. That is so hard. And the worst part about it is you don't feel like there's a hopelessness to it because you're not empowered enough yet to do anything about it. Because when I was blaming my ex-husband, I was actually giving all my power to my ex-husband. By blaming him, I gave him the power. Therapy helped me start to take back my power, and then coaching and reading books and joining groups and having a mentor and having a coach, all of that helped me get to more and more and more layers and levels of responsibility, honestly, because everything's like an onion. It's not just this, I take responsibility or I don't. There's a million layers in between. It's like calculus. There are an infinite number of dots on the line between those 2 points. They're an infinite number. So there's all kinds of gray area. Nothing is black and white. What kind of responsibility do I really take for my life? And am I blaming any situation or any other thing? Even though they may be factual, the fact is I concentrate on what I can control. And that basic concept is no more than, the earliest philosophers and the stoics, right? Ancient, were they Greeks or Romans? The stoics, Mark Antony, he was definitely Roman. Anyway, they have names, they have like Latin sounding names, like Sophocles, like I don't know. But the books on the Stoics, Epicurus? I don't know. Anyway, they have names that sound like that. The Stoics is all about like, dude, it's like being practical so pragmatic, that it's so logical, that it's so hardcore. And it's basically like, focus on what you can control, because doing anything else is crazy. It's kind of crazy to lament over things you cannot change, right? It's the serenity prayer. God grant me the courage to change the things I can, the serenity to accept the things I cannot, and the wisdom to know the difference. Did I get that order wrong? Anyway, this wisdom starts way back, and it works its way into so many things. And I have my own take on certain wisdom that will resonate, will speak to other people who are in the same place, or who have been through some of the same things and want some of the same things, and want some of the things I've already accomplished, and then want also to go where I'm trying to go, which is that next level of responsibility for creating the life that I desire, the life that I want, being the kind of person I want to be, showing up in the world the way I decide I want, and not based on just conditioning and life and all of that stuff. I want to be at cause in my life, and this is the next level of that. And there are people who will relate to what I am saying and recognize that this is the train that they want to be on. Because when we are growing and changing and everything, a lot of the people that we've been around are going to be in similar situations as us, and they might be ready to take that next step, and they might not. So we need people in our lives that are at those next steps. And that's why, one of the reasons why I love a group so much. Look how long it's taken me to get to the point. There are people who need that group, who need other people in their lives who are just a couple of steps beyond, or a few steps, or a bunch of steps, or whatever. We need to surround ourselves with people who are where we want to be. Like, if I look at my life, at who's doing what I really want to do, and how do I get closer to them? How do I learn from them? How do I, because a big part of it too is what information is going in. And so to keep you where you are, you've got all these inputs, right? You've got friends, you've got TV shows that you watch, you've got books that you read, you've got whatever, all of it, your job, everything is going in and putting all this information inside of your brain, and you suck it up whether you are intentionally doing it or not. We need to get to a place where we're also recognizing that we need to intentionally bring possibility, hope, goals, people. The belief that we can actually do something is so vitally important. We have to have the belief. Like Henry Ford said, you believe you can or believe you can't, and either way you're right. I think it was Henry Ford. Anyway, aren't I quoting a bunch of people today? Anyway, you think you can, you think you can't, either way you're right. You know, it's all a matter of, what do you think is possible? What do you think you deserve? What do you think is possible? What do you really, really believe? And if you don't like what you believe, maybe you have cynicism and doubt, and it's all BS and nobody actually makes it, and you have those thoughts, but you recognize you want to change them. One of the big things you need are examples of why it's true that you can change your life. You need examples around you every day of people who've done it, who are telling you, yes, you can do it. Come along with us. That's why I love the idea of a group, as everyone helping each other and coming in at whatever level we are, and recognizing people that are a little further along that we can then listen to, that we can interact with, that we can get some wisdom from. And I also think in this group that I'm going to start with my tentative plan, just because it's not a for sure plan, but it's tentative, is to start June 1st with a Facebook group. I'm going to start it on 30 days of self-love and self-acceptance. Because one thing that I believe from all of the work that I have done in the coaching industry and beyond is that we don't get what we deserve. We get what we think we deserve. And when you don't think you deserve better, then you're not going to get better. So every single time I start some kind of big push toward a big goal or something that's currently out of my reach, but I recognize that I can get there, or I hope, or I believe that I can get there, is I have to work on my worthiness, my self-love, my self-acceptance, my compassion, because I have to be my own biggest cheerleader. And I have to recognize that I'm going to fall down, that I'm going to fail, that I'm going to feel not good enough. And I've got to be able to pick myself up again and again and again in this journey. And that's why I always come back to self-compassion, self-love. And with that comes some worthiness and some confidence. And then that is the fuel that kind of helps jumpstart. Am I going to really go for my dreams? You got to believe that it can happen. You got to believe that you're worth it, that you deserve it. And so that's where we start. So I think that's where we're starting. I think I've just talked myself into it. I've been thinking about it, and now I'm verbally processing all of it. And you will either love it or you'll hate it. Either way. Either way, I'll tell you what, if you're still around right now, then you're probably my people. If you are still watching right now for whatever reason, you're probably my people. Let me know if you made it to the end. I honestly want to know. And let me know. I'm going to do this group for free for at least the first month. And then I'm going to start with like I think what I'm going to do, don't hold me to it, but I think what I'm going to do is start the group for free. Just get this basic thing down, do 30 days of video every day of a self-love, self-acceptance, confidence, kind of little 3 or 4 minute little lesson, if I can keep myself to 3 or 4 minutes. This is 27 minutes we've been in this thing right now. I'm going to give a little video at the beginning of each day in the Facebook group. I'll record them in bulk and I can schedule them so that I can work, while I'm doing all this. But anyway, I'm going to give a little thing every day, like maybe 5 days a week for the first month. That is going to be a practice that you can literally do to love yourself more and to help yourself see that worthiness and have a little more confidence. And we're going to start for free for at least the first month is going to be free. And then we're going to build up these classes, like maybe once every month, like we'll work on self-love, and then maybe it's self-compassion, and then maybe it's goal setting, and then maybe it's, discipline or, meditation, awareness, mindfulness. Anyway, we can work up these things. And then what we'll have after a few months is we'll have a few courses. And so then people paying to join the group can also get access to each of these courses. Let's say, 30 days, or to be 20 days or whatever, maybe 21 days of self-love and acceptance or whatever, 21 days of building confidence, 21 days of whatever. Anyway, just brainstorming there, but it starts with self-love and acceptance, to be your own cheerleader, to be able to take steps toward making dreams happen. I think that's what we're going to do. And if you're interested, let me know. Maybe I'll put my email in this description, or I might even post the group. I think I have already created the group in Facebook. If I have, I'll post it. I'll post the link below. And if not, I'll put my email and you can let me know if you want in. Anyway, we're going to start for free, and then we might charge $5 a month, and then it might be $10 a month, and then we'll just see. But it'll start out really cheap. I just want anyone who is interested at all to be able to do it, right? That's really what I want. And I want just to raise the vibe. We can all, a rising tide lifts all ships, right? Lifts all boats. And so that's what I want. I want in this group is the rising tide. That's what my goal for this group is, the rising tide. I think I might have just come upon the theme, right? that rising tide. I think that a group of people who are inspiring and who are hopeful and who are accomplishing things and being evidence that you can change, you can grow, you can accomplish goals, having so much more evidence for that by seeing people and being around people who are doing it constantly and doing it yourself is very inspiring. That idea is inspiring to me. So if it's inspiring to me, maybe it will be to other people too. Anyway, just talking it through. You get it here first. Extra thanks to my patrons on Patreon. The link for that is below. That's only like $3 a month. That's just like a little behind the scenes, and you can kind of, you know, message me and talk to me and stuff like that through Patreon. Anyway, thank you. I appreciate you. I'm sending you a ton of love, and let me know if you made it to the end, because wow, you really deserve a medal. Okay, sending a ton of love. Bye-bye.